Hey folks, welcome to Man Cave Makings with me, Gus. Well, I've got myself a vintage vice. Kind of. The reason I say that is because I think this is a remanufacture. I bought it online on an auction site and it was billed as a wooden vice, and I got it up, a courier, 38 kilos of it into the workshop, and it had loads of layers of paint on it, and you'll see that in the video. We'll do a little light refurb on it, but quickly kind of worked out that stamping's not quite right. The actual casting itself isn't quite right, so yeah, I think this is a remanufacture, but that's okay because this video is nothing to do with the sort of refurb of the vice, and it's got everything to do with the pedestal which this is going to sit on in the fab shop and get beaten on quite heavily. The idea for this pedestal and the way the shape comes out came from a wee holiday I took last year to Croatia with my family, and we were sort of taking a wee saunter down a side boulevard and a lamppost stopped me. I was like, oh, that is just beautiful. That is just lovely. Dad, you weirdo! What are you doing? Just taking a photograph of a lamppost. Yes, I had to be reminded that I was on holiday and I was the one taking photographs of lampposts, which isn't cool when you're on holiday with your family. But I had to. It was beautiful. And just the way the intersections work, the way it stacks on top of each other, the geometrical shape, the sort of Art Deco look of it, just stunning. And I thought that, with my vintage-ish vice, will look awesome in the fab shop. And that's what this video is all about. How I made it, all the steps along the way. Hope you can join me. So let's get in it. Most of my projects all start with a pencil and a bit of paper, and just getting your ideas down, and then from there it's just a case of transferring those across onto the metalwork using a scribe and just some basic tools really. Key step with it in the welding process, which is often overlooked, is surface preparation, and I take a good bit of time over it. I use these non-woven paint prep wheels, and they make such a good job of removing surface rust and also mill scale, leaving the parts nice and bright and shiny, ready to get welding, and it gives you the best chance of success within your welds. The outer ribs, relatively straightforward to cut out, and then I set my table at 6 degrees to give a bevel onto the outer ribs, which then I just tack welded in place, and using a square and a small adjuster, I was able then to make each of the ribs square and true to each of the intersections. Each one of the 9 infill panels were individually cut out, and then it was a simple process of stacking them on top of each other, creating that pocket for the grill, and then just welding each of them up. as mentioned in the intro, it was around this sort of time that I realised that I didn't have an authentic vice. After I stripped it down and took it all apart, I could see the issues with the castings, and then, well, I just decided to go for it anyway, do a light refurb, and I used some antiquing fluid to blacken up the underlying steel to give it that vintage type look, and then put an oil finish over the top and a little sprinkling of gold magic, and it looks just the part, and I'm absolutely delighted with it. So, all things being equal, that's a pretty good outcome. Applying an oil finish is relatively straightforward, but you do need to heat up the underlying steel. I use this blowtorch, and what you're looking for really is the change in surface from this wet look into a dried look, and then you're ready to apply the oil finish. The steelwork will be relatively warm to touch, so do be careful, but that aids and helps the drying process and the bond from the oil to the metal surface. And I just use, well, an old rag for this, and yeah, even polish my nuts. Well, she's all done. Sorry for the weird kind of angle of attack here to give the overview, but it's the only way I can get this thing in one shot. I've really enjoyed making it, and I love the look of it. I think the sort of blackness of it with this gold inlay and the lettering, really like almost sinister-y kind of look to it. Really like that. This industrial theme running through the workshop now. That's my look, and that's what I'm going to be making more of. And I've learnt a load from it. So I hope you've taken some good information from the video. And if you're new here, consider subscribing or giving me a like. That would be amazing. And if you are an old man cave making stalwart, then I really appreciate your continued support, and it means the world to me. And as always, well, I hope to catch you again.